One of the arguments we have internally is about showing options that don't actually do anything. For example, if the context is incorrect, should the option show if it does absolutely nothing and will do nothing because the context has been failed? You might have noticed in the previous segment that whenever I was dealing with booleans, there was an option called late parent that showed. Whenever you're dealing with booleans, you can make them parent automatically under bool options by just choosing to parent your shapes. However, there also is a preference that's also in box cutter by default that should parent shapes. But in the event that you are, say, setting up some cuts and you're not parenting your shapes, then when you move the main object, it's not going to work out very well. And this is a very big gotcha that gets new users that has made the enabling of auto parent a philosophical question, even though sometimes it can cause matrix issues with transformations and other things that are unforeseen. So sometimes we like to let parent be upon you, the user, to decide, because it does open a different Pandora's box of curiosities. But we'll move this cube over and let's select the main shape, and we're just setting up differences, just Shift D, duplicating, setting up differences. And no matter how many booleans we set up, these parents aren't going to connect. But because this mesh has pending booleans on it, basically, meaning in our modifier stack we have boolean modifiers that have yet to be applied. That means that under operations there's an option called late parent, and whenever you select this, it will actually parent all the shapes to the target mesh. And this is something that will also fix children of cutters. So to show that in action, let's undo that. And this cutter is actually a cutter cutting into this cube, but let's actually duplicate this, and we're going to scale it on the X. And I'm going to show you a concept that I love called cutting cutters, where you just take a cutter and you actually cut it into a cutter to get a more interesting result. So, you know, this is already getting pretty interesting so far. We'll place our 3D cursor here, get another cube going, and we'll perform another difference boolean. You could tell that generally I would use the hotkeys here, but I'm opting to use the Q menu to just kind of bring home just the point of how much I love using the Q menu. So now we have this shape that's cutting cutters. So technically this shape is only affected by certain booleans, meaning that the classic late parent would have actually only parented this mesh. It wouldn't have parented the children that are actually cutting into this mesh, comprising it, into affecting this. So if we select this shape and we go into operations, you can see that now late parent supports retroactive parenting, meaning it will locate the children and its children's children and parent those to it as well, ensuring that you're able to move it around. However, this isn't how I'd recommend working. Of course, in previous videos I've discussed that, you know, you should always, you know, opt for a collection instance by using Control G, and we could just name this box, and then you could Shift A, insert a box, and make modifications to the shape continuously without having to worry about modifying the data or dealing with transformation or anything like that. So it's just one of those ways that's available to work to us using collection instances replacing group instances in 2.8. So I do recommend users getting acquainted with it and at least using it as a way to deal with shapes that are being used at multiple locations while having a construction version that you maintain on a separate layer.